All right, we're live. Welcome, guys, to a Pizza Chat. I hope you're doing well. It is a very warm May evening, um, right post Memorial Day. But anyway, we have a very special, awesome, super exciting guest with us today. We have Mr. Matt Stikker, who is the art and marketing director for Sizzle Pie. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I'm stoked to talk with you.
Yeah. So if you don't know Sizzle Pie, you should stop what you're doing right now. Go to sizzlepie.com or check out their Instagram. They have awesome pizza marketing, which is kind of why I wanted to have Matt on and kind of talk about it. So we are going to we're going to kind of wing this for this episode. This is my first official interview. So, or I'm not first, but in this format. But anyway, Matt, tell us about yourself, where you're from, where you live, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm the art and marketing director for Sizzle Pie, and we're based in Portland, Oregon. We got locations in Portland as well as in Eugene, Oregon, and in Reno, Nevada, which we just opened about a year and a half ago. I live in Portland. Been here for about 15 years, and it's an awesome place. Love it. And I've been doing design and illustration work for the better part of the last 13, 14 years, maybe. I do some freelance illustration and design work on the side, but I've been with Sizzle Pie doing design work for 7 years, better part of 7 years. I've started out at Sizzle Pie as a graphic designer, and at this point have become the art and marketing director, and it's been a real privilege to work for a company like Sizzle Pie and have the support that they've given and the kind of importance that they place on our design and our social media presence and our branding in all aspects. Everything from the box to social media posting and everything like that comes from the owners, like from the get-go at every level. Everyone in the company's invested in it, so it's an awesome entity to be a part of.
Cool. So how would you did you ever think you'd be involved in pizza, the pizza world?
I don't, maybe not. I want to say it always, I like to think of myself as having a sense of humor. So I like doing, I'm obviously, if you couldn't maybe tell, I'm a metalhead, and look at me on the street, and maybe you might not think I have a big sense of humor, but I don't know. I think a fun maybe story about how I got started with Sizzle Pie is I was working at a record store for a while. It was slow. I started doing a lot of Bargain Bin Blasphemy album covers. So I'd take a bunch of Bargain Bin albums and just draw corpse paint and stupid goofy jokes on them, and started a Tumblr for it, and people got into it, I guess, and thought it was funny. And somehow one of the owners of Sizzle Pie at the time, a guy named Mikey McKennedy, had actually seen it. Him and Orion Landau, who was the original designer for graphic designer for Sizzle Pie. The two of them ended up, interviewing me for a graphic design job, and they had seen that stuff, and they were like, "Wait, that was you? Oh, like you're the guy! Like we have to get this guy." So it's like my stupid sense of humor got me this job in the first place. So, needless to say, like a lot of the stuff that we do is pretty goofy, but we take it seriously. From a design standpoint, we still, making sure that it's solid. And I've again had a lot of a lot of precedent before I started 7 years ago, because the company started in 2011. It's been 9 years, and before, having the logo is designed by Aaron Draplin, who's a legend who I don't have the privilege of knowing personally, but obviously. I
actually met him once.
Yeah,
he was here in Chicago. He's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to meet him, but he did the. I know he's based in Portland, but he did the logo for Sizzle Pie and some of the initial branding, which is obviously starting from a great place. I mean, that's what I have to work with, the font system that we work with, and the logo and the color scheme and all that stuff was established by him and by Orion Landau, who's the designer who I mentioned, who was behind Wayfinder beer. And their branding is incredible. It's impeccable. He worked for Relapse Records for a long time. He's involved with Bar Dune and some other entities in Portland, and he does amazing work. And so starting out with from kind of their shoulders and kind of as I eased into the position, it gave me a real boost. And so it's yes, it's a pizza. I never thought I'd be in pizza, but
Right.
To be working with the kind of groundwork that was laid by those designers is the kind of design job that I think I hoped for and was lucky to get
Right.
so early in my design career. Yeah.
So the whole like look and feel of Sizzle Pie, is that mostly you, or is that like what how much influence did you have on that, the branding in general?
I have been, I think from the get-go, I was surprised at how much leeway they let me have. Because a lot of it, I mean, again, I can't take credit for some of the the groundwork that was laid in the first few years of the business. I joined the company in 2013, about almost 7 years ago, and from the get-go, they were willing to let me kind of take the ball and run with it, and I tried to maintain some continuity. I hope that when you look at the branding and stuff from 6 or 7 years ago, I hope that there's an element of continuity. It might be a little more polished now. I try to be modest about it because other people have been involved. I think Mikey McKennedy, who's one of the former partners, owners in the ownership, he's Boss Dog on Instagram. He does some awesome art. He sells art and merch and does amazing work. And he was part of it early on. Orion Landau and Aaron Draplin and John Black, who's another awesome designer who's part of the company. We've had so many rad people kind of feed into the look and feel of Sizzle Pie over the years. Skinner, Sketchy Tank, Tallboy, all these guys that do amazing, awesome design work. And so I like to think that what I've done is really just try to amalgamate kind of all of that into something cohesive. And probably some of my stamp has come through on that, but yeah, I am at present the entirety of the marketing department. So please don't be mean to me on Instagram.
I don't think anyone would be mean to you.
I'll do my best to answer all your DMs, I swear.
So let's talk a little bit about your like your process and like how you come up with these ideas and like where you like. So I'm assuming. So are you illustrating everything, or is it like a combination of like illustration and like collage and or like what do you how do you do the magic that you do?
Yeah, if you call it magic or tomfoolery or trickery or whatever, it's cutting corners now. Yes, so I do a fair amount of illustration work. As I mentioned, I do it as a part of my career as I'm a freelance illustrator, but also I've done a lot of the a significant percentage of the kind of the merch designs and a lot of what you see in the shop, coasters and posters and stuff like that. I generally have had a hand in, and so some of it has to do with my illustration work, but a lot of it just has to do with the general aesthetic and the taste of everybody who's involved, everybody who's part of our who's been part of our creative team and our ownership. And so that kind of collage, the pastiche, the parody stuff, which is a big kind of component. Again, the humor and that element of it is all part of it. And as part of it is how much time do I have in the week to actually accomplish the design goals that are in front of me for the week.
Okay.
So if you see a nicely illustrated piece by me inside Design Secret, that means that I had more time to work on it, which is probably the case for most folks out there in the design world. But right. I think the aesthetic that we go for, that I'm trying to integrate stuff seamlessly, and I think calling kind of our aesthetic like vintage is kind of, it's wrong, because that kind of denotes some kind of cutesiness, or it's become a catch-all for just sort of anything that isn't super slick looking.
Right.
I think it's like timeless, I would say, is the adjective that we're trying to go for. Something that looks like maybe it could be from, you know, any decade in the last 50 years, or 60 or 70. And trying to kind of mold everything into one cohesive design style that is familiar and that is fun, because pizza should be fun is our kind of overarching motto for pretty much everything we do at Sizzle Pie. So at the end of the day, having fun with it is the goal, and hopefully that kind of sense of humor and the you know, we try to stay loose and kind of approach everything from that perspective and make sure that we're having fun and making stuff look I don't know, not like, it's not as slick as you might, you know, see from other places, which is the goal. Hopefully we pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, your stuff doesn't look like anything else, honestly. I really don't. I'm trying to think. Not that I've seen everything, but I've seen a fair share of, like, in the pizza world anyway.
Sure.
It's just like, yeah, your stuff definitely stands out, and I think that's awesome, and that's kind of what you should be doing. You should want to stand out. Yeah, and I love the parody stuff. The parody stuff is awesome. It's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, that's some of our favorite stuff too, because that's kind of, I think it's a little bit cheating in a good way, because we're kind of we're opening the door for people who are for followers and customers and you know, outside observers to see what we like, the kind of stuff, because it's all coming from a place of, we like heavy metal, we like goofy fantasy art, we like wizards, we like skateboarding, we like all these things that, you know, we like 80s, you know, horror movies, we like all these things, that they're not exclusive, those aren't the only things we like, but those are that's kind of what motivates us. And you know, goofy van magazines and custom, you know, airbrush wizard bands and stuff like that when we have the opportunity, I think, to open the door. It's a little bit cheating, because it's like, hey, we like this stuff, are you into this stuff? And it turns out a lot of people are into that stuff. So I don't want to say that we're necessarily looking at it as cynically as that. But I think over the years, it's become apparent that, like, oh yeah, when we do a Goosebumps parody thing, people respond to that because everyone remembers Goosebumps. Everyone likes Goosebumps, and
it's nostalgia. It's, you know, it's yeah.
So it's cheating.
I don't think it's cheating. I think it's clever. I think it's I don't know. I don't think it's cheating, but anyway. So we have a couple people. We have Dan Clayton 666 said, "What was it like being on Jeopardy?" I don't know what that means, but
I was on Jeopardy.
You were on Jeopardy? What?
I'm not going to contort myself to show the tattoo, but I do have an "I lost on Jeopardy" tattoo. If you, it's probably on YouTube if you look at somewhere. But I appeared on Jeopardy, I think, about 2 years ago. And I got third place.
Nice. Sweet.
So I took home $1,000, and it covered the cost of the trip.
Oh, that's something, I guess. All right, so we have to talk about Jeopardy now. I had no idea.
No, here we go. I'm ready.
So are you a big Jeopardy fan?
I like Jeopardy. I mean, I remember watching it as a kid. It was definitely something I remember watching with my parents when I was real little, you know, 4 or 5 years old. And like, I'm not a trivia master. I'm not like I have definitely shown my ass at a lot of metaphorically speaking at like bar trivia nights. I'm not the guy you want on your team for that. You know, I watch. I love Jeopardy. I mean, it's an awesome show, and you know, it's kind of one of those constant things. You know, I mean, it hasn't changed in 40 years. So,
how was Alex? Was he a gentleman?
He is exactly the way that he appears on TV. Which I appreciate. It's the funny thing is, like, the most illustrative example is like we're because they're kind of continuously filming, including the commercial breaks. They like blast through those episodes. They film a 22-minute episode in like 27 minutes. So it's like in real time almost. And like during the commercial breaks, or what will be the commercial breaks, the Trebek goes in, like, fields questions from the studio audience, and somebody asks, "What's your favorite color?" And he goes, "Gray, like my personality." And it's like, he in the morning, the dude is like a consummate pro, because he goes in the morning and he sits in that chair and they're doing his hair and his makeup, and he goes, "Alex Trebek," and then for that whole day he's just Alex Trebek, the TV show host, and he's in character the whole day. And so if he goes home and like has a glass of scotch and like shoots his Elvis and like firing a pistol at his TV, and like I don't know what he does in his free time, but it's like not that guy on set. He's like Alex Trebek the character, because like you have to, that's how you go to work and you put it. So actually it's kind of inspirational to see that, but he lets in nothing. There's no
right. Yeah, I mean, doing it for that long, I would assume that he knows what he's doing, and
yeah. No, they're blasting through like 5 episodes a day, and he's just like on it. The dude is in his zone the entire time. Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, I won't waste any more time on Jeopardy. And then sent one is here. James, hey James. He's got that Weird Al song stuck in his head. I lost on Jeopardy. It's a great song. Okay, so let's talk about your work. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Good.
So, all right. Here we have. Is this like? This isn't like your logo. It's like the.
So,
what would you call this?
This is the pizza face that was not done by me. But it gives me a chance to talk about one of my favorite people, a guy named Skinner, who I'm sure everyone who's watching this, if you know who I am or know who Sizzle Pie is, you probably know who Skinner is. And if you don't, you really, really, really need to go check him out immediately at The Art of Skinner on Instagram and all that stuff. Dude named Skinner Davis. He's a really awesome painter, incredible human being. He's done work with Mastodon and gosh, I don't even know. I can't even think right now, but he's done a ton of stuff. And he did this a long time ago. And it kind of became the unofficial mascot of Sizzle Pie. I think he painted the original one, which is hanging up when things reopen eventually. The location on East Burnside in Portland has the original, which is about 3 feet tall, and it hangs in the shop.
Oh, wow.
He painted it like, it was before I started, so 2011, 2012 maybe. And yeah, it's kind of part of our branding, because it's this like mildly terrifying, but also hilarious, like goofy piece of pizza ephemera.
Yeah, I think the brand. I think I was just thinking that the branding is very like, it's very like terrifying yet funny. Like there's this weird like mashup. Which is kind
weirdly intense.
Yeah. So this is the guy that's like on all your social media, basically.
Yeah. He is like a little bit the mascot of if you he's on little stickers that we stick things on in the shop, stick flyers to boxes and stuff with. He's the icon for our social media, and it has hung around and probably had more legs than anyone in the company ever thought, but sometimes it just works, so you stick with it. It's just kind of inertia at this point, but I love it, and I love Skinner, so I'm stoked that we have actually something that he did that's a little piece of secondary branding that we use.
Right. That's awesome. And this is the Aaron Draplin.
Yeah. So another great opportunity to talk about an awesome designer, awesome mind. So Aaron Draplin did the Sizzle Pie logo. I think that he also designed the box, or designed it in concert with Orion Landau, who's our the aforementioned original graphic designer for Sizzle Pie. And I love the box. It's red. It's bold. It kind of embodies the properties of kind of the Sizzle Pie design, which is kind of bold and clean, despite the insanity of all the ridiculous crap that I designed for Sizzle Pie. It's always kind of stamped with that identifiable, the type and the logo, and the boldness of it is, and that's, as far as I'm concerned, never going to change. This box is going to live forever.
Right.
It's got, Eat pizza. It's got like all of our logos on it, or all of our mottos. Eat pizza every day. Jets of Falls Pizza. Home the Old Dirty, which is our shout out to ODB, which is an awesome pie if you haven't had it. Salami and ricotta and pepperoncini. It's amazing.
That sounds delicious. Yes. Yeah, it's just I like it because it's very clean. I love how clean it is and how like to the point it is.
Yeah, I think one of the fun things about it is how recognizable it is, and it makes it. I mean, again, when you talk about stuff that is important to the brand, that's important to the company. This box has been from day one. They're using these boxes. They've never gone in for generic, boxes. They from day one they said we are going to have identifiable boxes. You're going to see that from across the room. You're going to see them stacked up behind the counter, and they say "Death to False Pizza" on the edge, and it's a whole wall of that behind the slice counter. Like much credit to our owner Matt Jacobson and as well to his former partner Mikey McKennedy for both of them having the vision to really want to come out the gate swinging, which I think this definitely does. Yeah,
very smart. This guy, I love this guy so much. I don't know. I actually just noticed the little the Skinner image on the car. I never noticed that before, but this is awesome.
Yeah, totally. And this one is also so I'm stoked that we're starting out with some stuff that I haven't done because I want to emphasize also how much of a collaborative effort it really has been over the years, and that I am in a position now to curate it. But over the years, again, we've had so many talented people that we've had varying levels of relationships with. This design in particular was done by a guy named John Black, who goes by at Barely Human Art on Instagram, and check him out because he does awesome illustration work, and he also does like resin casting and action figure stuff that's killer, really awesome. So a dude with like a different kind of set of skills. We've worked with so many different people, photographers, videographers, and people who make toys, and people who do painting, and people who do graphic design, and like all these different skill sets that have come together over the years to do stuff. So this was something that John did for our social media probably a couple years ago. And it kind of also shows that like the Sizzle Pie brand is strong, and it's more than just my stupid sense of humor. Like it's strong enough to come through, no matter who's behind the wheel. Right. It's kind of, part of what we like to do. And it's so goofy because it's just like, I don't know, man. I love this.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
And here's one that I did.
Okay.
So this is kind of I mean, I've done a lot of these. I don't know. This is not necessarily the pièce de résistance for my social media work, but this is an example of kind of the I kind of mentioned before, but like fantasy sci-fi art. Like for me personally, there are like so many rad artists, everyone from like Frazetta and Boris Vallejo and Mobius and just I don't even know so many incredible artists. There's such a rich history of paperback artwork as well, and a lot of these guys are kind of anonymous, and some of them are kind of big names, and some of them are somewhere in between. But we, taking some of this stuff and kind of parodying it, having a little bit of fun with it, lightly recontextualizing it is a big kind of part of I think our not necessarily of our identity, but of it's exemplary of our sense of humor and our kind of our approach toward the way that we present ourselves. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love the details too. Like at first glance, you're like, oh, okay, delivery or whatever. But then, like, if you look closer, you see that there's like an actual pizza, like in the in the back or whatever, and you have the sizzle pie on the side, and I don't know, it's just very like I don't know, I just love it so much.
Yeah, I think some of that is just like we kind of like Orion and myself and kind of in the early days, it's just sort of like it's easy to make stuff look really photoshopped, and sometimes that's really fun. And like doing stuff like I mean they're awesome accounts. Teenage Stepdad does amazing memes on Instagram, really like transcendent meme material, and like some other folks that do like kind of this like Photoshop heavy, like it's over the top, it's like deliberate, and we kind of take that, but instead of making it so goofy, it's like we almost like, at least I try to like, hey, I want to like seamlessly integrate it in and like actually take time and like shade it and make it look, yeah. And then if you notice, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, you do a great job of that. Where are you sourcing these images?
My Google Foo is highly refined after.
Okay.
There's some resources out there. There's some blogs that have, you know, some good content, and
so random places.
Some of it is stuff that I find.
Yeah.
Some of it's very collaged together like this. Yeah. So,
yeah, I like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's also like I'm assuming you come up with like the copy as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we I don't know. There's a lot of the stuff that we do, and like stuff like this where it's kind of goofy, and we had like a really, find it if you can. I'm sure it lives on YouTube. Like our former videographer, guy named Conrad Martin, did this amazing video. We do our Sizzle Pie is a sauce pentagram on pizzas, which they do like you can add like $1.50 for a big pentagram of sauce on the pizza, which is like, obviously it's super tongue in cheek, it's goofy as hell, right. But it's like right up our alley because it's fun. And at the end of the day, like I could take this kind of stuff and do this like grim satanic imagery and make it really like dark and kind of not welcoming, but we like to do this and then make it kind of put a veneer of irony over the top of it, where it's kind of like, it's goofy. There's a pun in there. We kind of like to have fun with it, and like Conrad did an amazing video, so go find it somewhere. But it's like a, for the pentagram where it's like these hooded masked figures, like cloaked figures with a goat skull, like pouring the pentagram onto the pizza, and then it just like, there's a bunch of smoke and it's just like ding, it comes out of the oven and like handed off to the customer. And it's like goofy, but that, which is an even better example than this, is kind of like how we like to take, we come from a metal background. Our owner, Matt Jacobson, owner of Sizzle Pie, started Relapse Records, which is a pretty well-known, metal record label. And like a lot of us in, varying levels of the company are, metalheads or goofball rockers. And we like the kind of goofball, satanic panic kind of imagery. And so we try to take that and then twist it in a way that isn't, it's open, it's not a gatekeeping kind of thing. Like, we're not only for people who like metal, we're not only for people who get all the references. It's a bonus if you know that the napalm breath is named after Napalm Death, but also it's a pizza loaded with garlic. It's called the napalm breath. If you don't get the reference, then like, it's fine. Hopefully you like the pizza and you don't feel excluded. We're trying to have fun.
Right. Classic imagery here. I think, yeah, if you're a child of the 90s, you definitely will.
These are kind of fun. I like doing them. There's a limited amount of material, so I've been slowly working my way through the Goosebumps catalog.
Right.
But it's kind of one of those things where you never really know what's gonna be popular on social media. These are all social media posts. If it wasn't apparent already, this is all kind of content from our social media feed from various points in the last years. It's kind of one of this is like, we've touched on it before, but it's one of those things where I just like, I kind of offhandedly one day did like it'd be fun to do a Goosebumps parody, and spent some time on it. I had a little bit of extra time that week, so I put a little bit of extra mustard into it, and then people like got a really good response, and I thought it was goofy. And of course, everything I do, I'm always like, well, this is a goof. Hopefully, people like it. But it was like immediately got like a bunch of comments and stuff, and I was like, oh, I guess we kind of touched a nerve with that one. And it's like, well, there's like 60 more of these, so I guess we can keep going, and so we've done a bunch. This is one of like an ongoing series of vegan pizza themed Goosebumps fake covers, but it's fun because I mean, again, trying to have fun and taking something that is maybe has a little bit of nostalgia, something that a lot of us recognize, and just doing it in a goofy way that looks kind of maybe, I don't know if, again, timeless is an adjective. It's an aspiration, not necessarily an apt description of everything that we do, but like trying to do something where it's not a dated reference. It's not super topical. We're not trying to be, Stephen Colbert. We're not really topical. It's stuff. Our references and our points of reference are kind of broader and older. Maybe it's because we're old, and maybe I'm old, and maybe But I think there's like a taste for this kind of stuff that touches like people of a lot of ages of our social media followers. So
yeah, for sure. This is great.
Yeah, similar kind of stuff. It's like also like when we talk about our having branding that it goes back, that isn't tied to any particular era or goes back 20, 30 or 40 or 100, 110 years in this case, taking influence from like a lot of different eras of design is kind of fun. And that's kind of part of what makes Sizzle Pie, it's a fun place to work. It's a fun entity to design for, because I can take so many cues from so many different eras of design and so many different things. And I hope, because it's all being filtered through my, insane brain, that it's coming across in some way that's cohesive. But it is fun to be able to kind of take stuff like this and, run with it and not, not be super beholden to a really strict set of design guidelines for everything, I think is what keeps it fresh.
Right. Is there like a design style that you haven't done yet that you're curious about or that you want to do?
If I had more time, I would make an attempt to do a bunch of the like pen and pixel, like 90s, No Limit Records kind of like album cover, like super overwrought Photoshop. I love that stuff, man. It's ridiculous. All that stuff is way too actually time consuming to really spend days doing it. But that's like the one thing where I'm like, I've occasionally sat down and tried to do it, and then after like half an hour, I'm like, I'm wasting time. I can't. Right.
It could be like a passion project or something.
Right. Exactly. No, but that's kind of we. Being able to touch on a lot of stuff has given me an opportunity to kind of go through a range of influences and do
you have a favorite? Like, do you have something that you're like really get into?
I mean, you mean in general or for Sizzle Pie, like stuff?
For Sizzle Pie, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I like coming from a background of doing parody record covers. Okay. I like doing, I like having fun with parody record covers and kind of parody movie posters and stuff like that. I think because again, it's something that people kind of connect with. It's a reference that maybe a lot of people get, and then especially if I have a chance to really flex my pun muscles in there and get a good pun out of it. Like if it makes me kind of chuckle, then I have fun with it. So that's the stuff that I always am stoked when I think of something, even if I'm the only one who enjoys it.
Right. Hey, it's very important. Yeah. This is great.
Thanks. Yeah, this is a similar kind of stuff. So we, this is stuff that maybe is veering into like my personal kind of style stuff that I like, but that no doubt bleeds through a lot of this stuff. But kind of vintage horror stuff is a big part of my influence as a designer, and the kind of timelessness of the old illustrated, even up through the 80s, VHS box art, going all the way back to like golden era Hollywood, monsters, stuff like that, everything in between. And it's obviously Vincent Price, who's the king. Love Vincent Price, and I love the kind of the there's this inherent silliness to a lot of the art that's produced for this. It's over the top. It's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making fun of it because it's like my entire aesthetic. I love it, and it's something that's really easy to kind of twist a little bit, and make it funny, subtly. Because again, pizza's for everyone. You don't have to love horror movies to be into Sizzle Pie, and you don't have to be into horror aesthetic to be into Sizzle Pie's, aesthetic.
Right.
So it's, I like doing stuff like this. It's kind of goofy. I get to emulate that old and well-trodden vibe,
Right. Do you have a favorite genre of horror, or like favorite director or movie, or?
Oh man, I mean, David Cronenberg is hard to argue against, but I did a freelance project doing illustration based on The Fly recently, which was fun. So did another one recently that I'm working on for Dead Alive. Peter Jackson, obviously, he's done a lot of other great stuff, but I love that kind of goofy splatter horror as well, all the trauma stuff, and anything that's smart and anything that is also really, really stupid. One or the other, because we just had the 40th anniversary of The Shining, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. We just had Alien Day on April 26th, which I always never fail to remark upon, because Alien is probably my favorite movie and my favorite horror movie. So I love all the good stuff, but I also love the trash.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. This I don't know why I love this, but I love it so much. I'm typically not drawn to stuff like this, but there's something about it, the very like graphicness of it.
So this is definitely the illustration is totally swiped from the Hell Awaits album cover from Slayer, which people may be familiar with. Although it's a small detail, so it's me redrawing an element, and I'm totally failing right now to remember the year. The album cover in and of itself was based on a comic illustration that I am totally forgetting the illustrator right now. It's a bummer because it's awesome. But anyway, it's like so much stuff that we're stealing from. So funny. But no, this is so it was kind of like, I wanted to have a little fun and like draw a little demon guy, but it's also like, this is the kind of the Sizzle Pie aesthetic. This is what I miss coronavirus. We don't have any shows going on. All of us are Sizzle Pie. It's steeped heavily in music, and all of our the pizzas at Sizzle Pie are named after bands and named after it's musically oriented, and that's the background. And that I think was the big impetus for Sizzle Pie when it began. I remember when it started. I was working at the record store down the street, and it was like, oh, there's this heavy metal pizza place. They have pizzas named after like Judas Priest and Napalm Death, and it's a cool, which is as a starting point is rad. So I try not to, because again, we're not only for metalheads. We're not only for people who understand every you don't have to know what this is to know what we're about and to enjoy it. This is kind of, but it's I like to go back to that well, because obviously I play in bands, and I like I make show posters, and I do a lot of artwork for metal bands, and do a lot of stuff that's very much in this vein. So I like going back to the well once in a while for Sizzle Pie and kind of taking it back and doing stuff that's very analog. I think that's another kind of crucial adjective when you talk about Sizzle Pie's entire aesthetic is worn, used, analog. Again, now really slick. It looks printed. It looks fucked up. Excuse me. It looks. Am I allowed to swear on that?
Yeah, of course. Do whatever you want.
It looks a little worn, a little lived in, and doing this kind of a show flyer thing is like something that you'll see come up throughout a lot of our branding. This kind of aesthetic, and hopefully it's not a big turn off to people who are like, whoa, it's a demon. And then we've gotten the occasional comment on our social media about like, y'all are going to hell.
Yeah, of course.
The occasional self-righteous commenter. I guess that means we're doing something right.
I would imagine you get some winners on social media for sure.
Our followers are actually pretty great. I could be, I'm being truthful. I'm not just trying to fend off the deluge comments. So we get a lot of really supportive, comments and DMs from people, and a lot of people reshare our stuff, and I think it's not just about me and about the stuff that I do. It's the people I identify with. Sizzle Pie, people get really hyped about it, and that has to do with not just me, but I'm here to support the people who are in the shops and the cooks and the the counter people and the bartenders and everybody who's there, bouncers, everybody who's working and making the entirety of the Sizzle Pie experience possible, because I'm like the least crucial component in that. I'm the one who puts the veneer on the top, but at the end of the day, people keep coming back to Sizzle Pie because they like the pizza, and people share the branding because they like the branding, but they're sharing it because they identify with it because they dig the entirety of the experience. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's ultimately about the pizza, but it's what draws people in to get the pizza.
Totally.
Pizza Americana TV says we love pizza and beer. Yes,
who doesn't?
do.
Yeah.
This Mr. T as a slice of pizza. Come on, how awesome is this?
Yeah, that was something recent. Yeah, we're so I just took that from, there's that Mr. T cereal. It's basically this is again, this is like straight parody. There's you can Google image search Mr. T cereal. I do not know when it was produced. It predates my childhood by a little bit, or maybe my parents' willingness to buy me sugary cereal by a little bit.
That's like mid 80s.
Yeah, sure. It's like just barely, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is one of the goofier ideas I've had recently. I don't know where the hell it came from, but even if, again, it's the same thing where, like, even if most people under 35, I'm going to say, aren't going to necessarily get they'll see it's Mr. T, but maybe they don't know about, they don't have memory of the cereal. Right. It's a little fun, I don't know. I try to, if I'm doing something, and I do this occasionally, where I start to do something and I'm like, this reference is way too esoteric. Like I'll do like a metal album or something. I'll start to work on something, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that like 95% of the people who see this aren't going to think it's funny because they're not going to get where it's coming from. That's when I like back up and say, okay, maybe not. But this is like, yeah, it's Mr. T, it's slice pizza. So hopefully, 95% of people do recognize it. And then,
I would hope so. This and we'll talk about the store, I guess. But this is this like a t-shirt design or
yeah, it's a hoodie. So we sell these and they're available at pizzapartyhq.com. I'll get the plug in. The Sizzle Pie merch is available there, and you can follow at Pizza Party HQ on social media as well.
Boom.
Yeah. So you can I've done all of those things that you see there. I've done not all of our merch designs. We've had again. Go to the shirts, and we can maybe touch on some of the artists that we've worked with, because there's a lot of great ones.
So I have this shirt. This is the only
I didn't do that one, and it kind of came to the company through another channel, and I don't know the artist who did it, which is to my shame right now, because I would love to plug them. I didn't do it. The one next to it, the black cat with the lightning, that was Orion Landau. If you scroll down a little bit, the Pizza Butts Drive Me Nuts is a dude named Paul Boy, who's a friend of mine, who's an awesome artist. He's incredible and hilarious. Next to that one, that long sleeve, is a woman named Marina Skinner, who's also an amazing artist, great sense of humor, like super brutally honest art, and she rules. She's amazing. The one in the middle down there, that was Mikey McKennedy, Boss Dog, the Pizza Slayer. So that was back when he was part of the company, and he was deeply involved. The bottom right with the pizza weapons is a dude named Craig Wheat, who lives in Portland, is an awesome artist and a friend of mine. So we've worked with just a bunch of different folks to create the identity, and especially when it comes to the merch. We've had a lot of partnerships with artists and worked with a lot of different folks, which is a big privilege. Honestly, we put on a bunch of art shows. We've worked with more artists than I can even possibly name, because we've done multiple artist boxes, art shows where we had 20 or 30 artists at a time.
Wow.
Do a big group show, and then we printed all their designs on pizza boxes, which is like this wildly ambitious thing that I'm so stoked to have been a part of. And so, I mean, gosh, Sizzle Pie's probably worked with 50 different artists over the years, the various art shows.
So much.
That was Mikey McKennedy as well. Yeah, Boss Dog. That I love that. And that's again that kind of vintage. It's like an old biker patch or pin.
Yeah.
And then just like taking that, and it's like one of those tropes, like who knows who did it originally. It's like the smiley face, like it just exists. But like taking that and making it part of the aesthetic is like something that all the folks that have worked, on Sizzle Pie's identity have had like a keen eye for. I think that's kind of what binds us together thematically. But yeah, the sweatshirt design, the skater gator, all this stuff, it's been super, fun being able to design merch and have the flexibility to kind of, I'm going to make some sweatshirts. Hey, you guys like this design? And then, yeah, go for it. And it's a pretty quick process, where I do something and, at this point I've been with the company 7 years and I did this one recently last year and, they know where I'm at and I know where the brand is at. And, I think this was originally done for, Go Skate Day, which is something that typically Sizzle Pie will, run specials and do partnerships with. We did a fundraiser for an organization called Skate Like a Girl, which is in Seattle, Portland, in the Bay Area, which encourages everyone to skate, women and all non-gender identifying folks to be active in the skateboarding scene and be more fully integrated into the culture because it could be a boys club and so we're really supportive of what they do. That's that example of an organization that we like to work with where they're approaching things from the right angle. And so I think I created this for a poster for that, and then we liked it so much it was like, oh, I should make it a piece of merch. And so
repurpose it. So you drew the skater?
Yeah, I drew the gator. Yeah, I did everything here. I did not create the Cooper font, but
oh yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the it's pulling in that that familiar, well-rounded, if I could be a little punny, it's a well-rounded aesthetic. That well-worn kind of vintage aesthetic. It's and warm colors, kind of little bit rounded edges, and kind of that. It's approachable. It's goofy and like maybe it's a little. He's got his battle vest on. He's got his boombox, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like something that you could buy for your 8-year-old, and your 8-year-old would be the most badass kid on the playground. We want it to be.
I think the pizza, like having the pizza in there, kind of like legitimizes it.
Dude, it really does. It's amazing what you can buy. That's actually touch on a really fun point because like putting pizza in everything and like as much as I am like in my personal work, I'm not the pizza guy. That's not the holistic all my work, but so much of what I do revolves around being part of Sizzle Pie. Adding pizza to stuff is just fun and immediately gives, I'm sure you're this, like you say pizza and people light up, and you add pizza to stuff and it immediately makes it's a party. It's fun. People immediately like respond to it, and it can really sand down some of the edges where stuff would otherwise maybe be I don't know, a little edgy for a family pizza.
Right.
You throw pizza on there, and it's like whatever.
Pizza, it's happy. It's good times.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this Pride Eugene design.
Yeah. Excuse me. So perfect kind of example of, I think, I love this graphic, and we've used it for a couple years for various Pride graphics and events because Sizzle Pie, always does events and specials and stuff during Pride. They've supported a lot of good organizations like the Q Center, and every year we kind of do a lot of, there's a little bit, promotion going on around Pride, which is rad because now it's in Portland and Eugene and Reno, it's everywhere. So I love this graphic kind of personally because I love Judas Priest. We're all big Judas Priest fans.
Okay, I was going to ask you what the reference was.
Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't matter. Hopefully necessarily you need to know, and hopefully it still works. It's from the Screaming for Vengeance album, Judas Priest, which is it's a classic, but again, it's a send up of that. It's a little bit stripped down, and it's a parody, but it's also like marrying that kind of love for old school heavy metal, and that kind of vibe with like, hey, this really is for everybody. Sizzle Pie is a place where one of our mottos is pizza is for everyone. That's something that that our owner coined, I guess you could say, but all of us really believe. Everyone who works in the shop, from the top down, we really strive to make Sizzle Pie an accepting place for everyone, both in the shop and employees and customers and everybody else, but also for our all of our followers in social media, and people who just appreciate the brand and like us. And anytime we have the opportunity to take heavy metal and make it for everybody and really say like, hey, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, I think it works. I mean, I think it's cool enough because all of us at the office take it. So
yeah, I can hear the eagle screaming. Yeah, it's a great image.
Thanks.
And we looked at these shirts.
Yeah.
All these baked.
And anytime I can work in a pun about being baked.
Right.
Again, you put pizza on anything, like you're saying. It's like you could. It might be a little PG-13, but you put pizza on it, and then it turns to PG.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's okay, it's safe. All right, so let's. The one question I do have that's not design related is: do you make pizza at home?
I have an admission to make. I don't.
Okay.
Which is like I love pizza. I eat pizza all the damn time. I eat so much Sizzle Pie, but I eat so many other pizzas around town. There's so many great pizza places in Portland that if I feel like pizza, I know that there are a million places that could do it better. So I got East Cleveland Pizza Lounge or Scotty's or Ken's or Checkerboard, one of the awesome pizza jerks. So many good spots.
Support your local pizza shop for sure.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I made pizza.
Yeah. I'm not judging you.
Everyone else in the as part of our management would just be screaming because all of them totally do. Like you realize a bunch of pizza lovers and all of them are like constantly tweaking and experimenting and doing stuff. And I'm like the one guy who's like, just give me the pizza. I don't want to do any work.
At least you're eating it. At least you're eating it.
Oh yeah, too much. Yeah, entirely too much.
All right, so let's do a speed round.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this won't be too hard. All right, eat the crust.
Yeah, the crust is the most important part of the pizza, and if a place isn't doing pizza right, if they're not doing the crust right, the pizza's bad. You gotta eat the crust.
Best pizza pairing: food or drink?
Beer. Just beer. Any kind of beer, but beer. I like a Modelo. I like a light beer, or like a Wayfinder Hell. That's an awesome beer for pizza. Okay. Let's see. I'm a beer guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knife and fork or hands?
The gates are wide open, man. Whatever you want. You want chopsticks? You want to use a ladle? Go for it. You want to eat it backwards? Like I'm not gonna judge. Okay. Sometimes it's too hot. Sometimes you're too impatient and you need that fork, and that's okay. Sometimes you're just wearing a suit and you don't want to get dirty.
Okay. Favorite pizza chain, or frozen pizza?
Well, because I work for Sizzle Pie, I'm not going to plug any competitors, so I'm going to say Sizzle Pie, but for pizza chain, but best frozen pizza. I kind of like the Screamin' Sicilian pizzas that you can get, because the ones the like extra pepperoni, where it's like double pepperoni. Those ones are they're great. Yeah. They're greasy as hell, but I am super down. Yeah.
Screamin' Sicilian is definitely at the top of my list. Favorite toppings on a pizza?
Man, I am a big fan of pepperoni, jalapeno, and pineapple, which I don't get that often. Sizzle Pie has a couple pies with pepperoni and jalapeno, and I love that combo on its own. But like the trifecta where you get like spicy, meaty, and sweet with the and you can skewer me all you want about the pineapple, but pineapple is a pizza topping, and it's better than banana, which the Swedish put on pizza, and I'm not even going to touch that. But
I've thought about trying to make that. That thought goes like in and out of my head like occasionally, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Cinnamon, I want to say they put on. I don't know. I'm not going to front because whatever makes you happy, Swedish people out there.
I guess.
I'm not going to judge, but it's a little beyond selection.
Chicago or New York style?
I'm gonna go New York. Pretty firmly. Although I will say I love a deep dish pizza. It's just that I also like to eat like 3 or 4 slices, sometimes quantity is quality.
Kiss, marry, kill: pineapple, mushroom, anchovy.
Oh my god, this is a really tough one because I like all of those. I see. I would assume that maybe you get a lot of kill for anchovy, but I love anchovy. A place called East Cleveland Pizza Lounge in Portland does a killer puttanesca, which has anchovy on it, and it's one of the best pizzas I've had recently. So like I'm just enamored with that recently. So I'm gonna say kiss anchovy. I'm gonna say marry mushrooms because I love mushrooms on pizza, and I guess I very reluctantly push pineapple off the cliff. But like I said, I love pineapple and it's a topping. It just doesn't maybe go with everything. Mushrooms go with, I'm gonna say, any other topping on there. Whereas pineapple and anchovies is probably gonna be a bad time. I don't know. I think I could see pineapple not working for long. Certain scenarios.
Sweet. Okay. Someone says, what were the toppings again? They were pineapple, mushroom, and anchovy.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. Is there anything that you want to plug or want to talk about that we didn't talk about?
Other than the fact that we at Sizzle Pie, everyone really appreciates the way stuff has been for the last 3 months. Obviously, it's totally insane. The world is totally nuts, and it's been kind of a wild time for everybody involved. And all of us are super grateful for all the support that we've received. We've got an amazing amount of just positive vibes from our whole community. In Portland and Eugene and in Reno, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from all of you guys on social media, which we really appreciate. The emails that we've gotten, we pass them on to the staff. When we get an email that says like, hey, I had a really great pizza, my delivery guy was awesome. We make sure that the staff see it because it's, super important to us that they know that they're appreciated. And we have been totally blown away by the amount of support we've been given over the last few months. And so Sizzle Pipe still open every day, still open in Eugene, Reno, and Portland. We're open till 9 p.m. every night. We're delivering, we're doing pickup. So if you're in one of those areas and you need pizza, please come get pizza because times are wild and sometimes pizza is the only thing that makes it better.
For sure.
If you want pizza merch, hit up, as we already discussed, pizzapartyhq.com for Sizzle Pie merch, and follow us at Pizza Party HQ. Follow Sizzle Pie at Sizzle Pie on Instagram and Facebook, and continue to eat pizza, man. Eat pizza every day.
Yeah. All right, sweet. Thank you, Matt, again for joining me for the inaugural Pizza Chat. Check Sizzle Pie out. If you're in Portland, you probably know about Sizzle Pie, I would assume. But if you haven't,
but if you don't,
go check them out. Thank you again, and until next time, ciao for now.
All right, take care.